Okay, on this first one, since they're already in y equals mx plus b, this is number 28, by the way. Since these are already in y equals mx plus b, I'm just going to take this opportunity to show you how to do it on the graphing calculator. And if they're already in y equals mx plus b, you can do this. I told you guys I'm smarter than the calculator is way smarter than me. So there is a little bit of a trick to it, but I'm going to show you how to put the first one in. So it has y equals, and you just put in x plus 6. And then you hit enter, and then you can enter the next one. That's just going to be 2x. And then once you hit them both enter, you hit the graph button. Now, here's what sometimes can be tricky. If it's not in your window, like say you could not see the point, you can hit the zoom button, and then you have to go down to, and zoom out is 3. So I would hit 3 and then hit enter, and it's going to zoom out so I can see it better, because at first I had to already do this. But then if you hit trace, you can see where these points meet, because that's the solution to a systems of equation, is where they cross. So if you look, and that's showing about, but the answer is 6, 12, or the x coordinate is 6 and the y is 12, and you see it's showing it's just a little bit, but that is correct. Now you could go through the trouble of solving those, but if you do know how to use your graphing calculator, it's just as easy. And if you don't, you can use graph paper, because those two lines are pretty easy to graph rather than doing a whole bunch of math to move those around. But again, the questions 28, 29, 30, and 31 are all systems of equations. So each one might have a better method to solve. I personally like elimination. So on number 29, I can see if I just turn one of these y's into a positive, then they will eliminate. So I'm actually going to multiply this up here times a -1. And if I do that, that'll make those become, that y become positive. So that's actually going to turn into a -2x plus y equals a +7, because that was a -7. And then the one on the bottom, I didn't do anything to, so it's just going to stay the same. So that's 4x minus y equals a -4. Now, you treat these like an addition problem, and again, these will eliminate. So those disappear, and then I'm left with 2x equals 7 minus 4 is 3. So I divide by 2, I divide by 2, and that means x equals 3 over 2. X equals 3 over 2. But that's also the same thing as, or 1.5. So now you can sub that back into either one of these equations. It doesn't matter which one, and then to get y. So I'm going to pick this one. So I'm going to say 4, and then my x is actually 1.5. So times 1.5 minus y equals a -4. So 4 times 1.5 is going to be 6. So 6 minus y equals a -4. I'm going to subtract 6. So those disappear. Subtract 6. So that means -y equals a -10. And I need to divide by a -1, divide by a -1, so that means y equals 10. So my point is going to be 1.5, comma 10, and that is actually answer B. And I forgot to tell you on that one, this one was A, 6, comma 12. Now, on number 30, again, I'm going to look and see if I can make these eliminate. Well, if I multiply this top by a -6, those will eliminate. So, again, I'm going to distribute that to everybody, and that's going to become a -6x. That's going to become plus 6y, because two negatives make a positive, and that equals a positive 36. Now, I'm just carrying this other one over. So these eliminate, and that means that leaves me with 3y equals 36 minus 9 is 27. So that means y equals 9. And again, I just take this and I substitute it back in